Hello, my name is Ryan. I am 16 years old. I live in a small town with my parents, my younger sister Lily, and my dog Bruno. Today, I want to tell you everything about my weekend. I will start with Saturday morning. Are you ready? Before we begin, make sure to subscribe to our channel, because every story here is not just for practice, it's for feeling, learning, and growing with English. On Saturday, I woke up at 9:30 a.m. That is late for me. On school days, I wake up at 6:30 a.m. But today is Saturday, so no school. I opened my eyes slowly. My blanket was warm. I looked at the window. Sunlight was coming into my room. It felt nice. I stretched my arms and said, "Ah, finally, the weekend." Then I heard a sound. Woof, woof. It was Bruno, my dog. He was standing near my bed. His tail was moving fast. He wanted to go outside. I got up slowly and went to the bathroom. I brushed my teeth for 2 minutes. Then I washed my face with cold water. I looked in the mirror. Messy hair, sleepy eyes. I look like a zombie, I laughed. Then I changed my clothes. I wore my favorite blue t-shirt and black shorts. After that, I took Bruno outside for a short walk. The air was fresh. The sky was blue. Birds were singing. It was a beautiful morning. Bruno ran happily, and I smiled. At 10:15 a.m., we had breakfast together. My mom made something special. Pancakes. There were 3 big pancakes on my plate. She also gave me honey, butter, and some banana slices. I said, "Wow, Mom, these pancakes smell amazing." My dad was drinking tea. My sister Lily was talking about a funny video she saw on her phone. We laughed and ate slowly. It was a warm and happy moment. I love breakfast time on weekends. After breakfast, I went to the living room and turned on the TV. I watched an old cartoon called Tom and Jerry. Yes, I'm 16, but I still love cartoons. I sat on the sofa with Bruno next to me. He also looked at the screen. Maybe he likes cartoons too. For 30 minutes, I didn't think about school, homework, or exams. Just fun. At around 11:15 a.m., my phone rang. It was my best friend Ethan. "Hey Ryan, are you free today?" he asked. "Yes, totally free. What's the plan?" "Let's meet at the park at 12. We'll play football." I got super excited. I love playing football. I shouted, "Yes, let's go!" I packed my small football bag. I added a bottle of cold water, my football shoes, a small towel, my sunglasses, because it was sunny. I told my mom, "I'm going to the park with Ethan. I'll be back in a few hours." She said, "Have fun, and don't forget to drink water." Then I wore my shoes, picked up my football, and walked out the door with a big smile. The park was only 15 minutes away from my house. I didn't need a car or a bike. I just walked. As I walked on the empty road, I looked around. The trees were dancing in the wind. The sun was bright but not too hot. The sky was clear blue, without a single cloud. It felt peaceful. I kicked my football slowly as I walked. Kick, step, kick, step. I thought to myself, I hope Ethan brings the orange football. Mine is a little flat. Then I thought, what if more friends come today? We can play a full match. Suddenly, a group of little kids ran past me with balloons in their hands. They were laughing loudly. One of them fell but got up quickly and laughed again. That made me smile. I said quietly, "That's the energy I want today." Reaching the park. The real vibe begins. I reached the park at 12:01 p.m. I remember the time exactly because my phone buzzed with a message from Ethan. It said, "Already here. Where are you, lazy boy?" I looked around. The park was alive. Kids were playing on the swings. An old man was walking slowly with a stick. A group of girls were sitting under a tree doing a picnic. Two boys were flying a kite, and in one corner, Ethan was waving at me. He was standing under our usual tree, a big one with wide shade and a bench below. That was our meeting point for years. Ethan, the brother I never had. Ethan and I have been best friends since 3rd grade. He's a little taller than me, always full of energy, and his jokes are terrible but still funny. When I reached him, he gave me a fist bump and said, "Finally. I thought you fell into a pancake hole." I laughed and replied, "I was eating pancakes, not swimming in them." We both laughed. Then he opened his football bag and took out his bright orange football. He said, "This baby is fully pumped. Are you ready?" I said, "I was born ready." And we began. The game begins, sweat, tricks, and trash talk. We started with passing, just the two of us, back and forth. Pass, kick, trap, shoot. But then 2 more boys from school came. Their names were Marcus and Joel. We knew them, but we weren't very close. Still, we welcomed them. Ethan said, "Let's do 2 versus 2. I said, "Cool, let's destroy them." Ethan and I were on one team. Marcus and Joel were on the other. The match began. For the first 10 minutes, we were slow. Then things got fast. We were running hard, passing fast, kicking strong. The ball flew, our feet burned, our backs got sweaty. Ethan shouted, "Go left, Ryan, shoot now." I kicked hard and missed. Joel laughed. "Nice shot, Ronaldo," I shouted. "That was just a warm-up." They scored first. We were losing 1-0. Then I looked at Ethan and said, "Let's get serious." And we did. We passed beautifully. We moved like a team. Ethan dribbled past Marcus, and I waited near the small goalpost. He passed to me. I kicked. This time it went in. Goal. 1-1. We both shouted, "Let's go!" We high-fived. A few kids near us clapped. Just when things were getting fun, something bad happened. Marcus pushed Ethan hard during a move. Ethan fell. It looked painful. Ethan stood up and said angrily, "Why did you push me, bro? This isn't WWE." Marcus replied, "It was part of the game. Don't cry." Ethan stepped forward. I stepped between them and said, "Hey, relax. It's just a game." But Marcus said something rude. Ethan was about to punch, but I pulled him back. Things got quiet for a minute. Tension filled the air. Then Joel said, "Let's just play. No more drama." Ethan was still angry, but he nodded. We continued, but now it was serious. The final goal, and an apology. The score was 2-2, only 5 minutes left. Ethan and I moved like fire. I saw him running in the right side. I passed the ball long. He got it, tricked Marcus, and boom, goal. We won 3-2. I ran to him. We laughed like crazy. We shouted champions. Marcus looked away. But then, surprisingly, he walked to Ethan and said, "Sorry, man, I got too serious." Ethan looked at him, then smiled a little. "No problem, good game." And we shook hands. That was a big moment. After the match, we were tired. We sat under our usual tree again. We drank water. We didn't talk much, just sat there feeling the wind, watching kids play. Ethan said, "You know what I love about weekends?" I said, "What?" He said, "We can forget school, forget pressure, and just be." I nodded. Yeah, this felt good. The time was almost 2 p.m. The sun was right above us. I stood up and said, "Let's go home before we turn into toast." We laughed one more time. Then we walked home together. After walking home from the park, Ethan and I said goodbye at the corner of my street. We were both tired but very happy. The time was around 2:10 p.m. when I reached home. I opened the door and the smell of food came running to me. It was warm, spicy, delicious. I shouted, "Mom, what's cooking? I'm so hungry I could eat an elephant." She laughed from the kitchen. "Wash your hands first, Mr. Hungry." I dropped my football bag near the door and went straight to the wash basin. My hands were covered with dust and sweat. I washed them with soap and cold water. It felt good. Then I sat at the dining table. My mom brought a big steel bowl full of rice and another bowl with spicy lentils. She also gave us potato curry and papad. The smell was strong. My stomach made a loud sound. My little sister Lily was already eating. She said, "You smell like the whole park," I replied, "and you look like a potato." We laughed like kids. Dad joined us too. He was home early from work because it was Saturday. We all ate together. We talked about funny things. I told them how Marcus and Ethan almost fought and how we won 3-2. My dad said, "Football is not just a game. It's a lesson in teamwork." That made me think. He was right. Lunch ended at 2:45 p.m. I felt full. I didn't even want to move. A short nap, the best feeling in the world. After lunch, I went to my room. My dog Bruno followed me, like always. I changed into a clean t-shirt and soft pajamas. I pulled the curtains, lay down on my bed, and closed my eyes. I didn't plan to sleep, but my body was tired. I fell asleep within 10 minutes. It was a peaceful sleep. No dreams, no noise, just calm silence. I woke up at 4:15 p.m. I felt fresh and relaxed. I stretched my arms and said, "This nap deserves an award." Bruno was still sleeping near my feet. A trip to the grocery store. The funny cart incident. At 4:45 p.m., my mom called me. She said, "Ryan, can you go to the grocery store with Lily? We need a few things." I asked, "What things?" She gave me a small handwritten list. Milk, bread, eggs, sugar, Maggi noodles, soap, ice cream. I looked at Lily. She was already putting on her sandals. We walked to the grocery shop nearby. It was only 5 minutes away. At the shop, we took a shopping cart. I pushed it slowly while Lily walked beside me, holding the list. Suddenly, she said, "Ryan, I want to ride the cart. Push me." I laughed. "You're not a baby anymore." She jumped in anyway. I pushed the cart carefully, but near the biscuit section, it hit a corner and got stuck. She said, "Driver, you crashed. I need a new driver." The shopkeeper gave us a strange look. I said, "Sorry, sir. She's just, testing the wheels." We both laughed. We picked up all the items. Before leaving, Lily grabbed a bar of chocolate. I said no, but she made the puppy face. I said, "Fine, but you owe me a favor." She agreed. We reached home at 5:30 p.m. Cooking with Lily. A messy, funny time in the kitchen. After putting the groceries away, Lily suddenly had an idea. She said, "Let's cook something together. Just us. No mom." I asked, "Are you serious?" The last time we did that, the kitchen looked like a war zone. She smiled. "This time, we'll be careful." So we decided to cook Maggi noodles, the easiest thing ever. We boiled water, added the noodles, added the masala packet, and stirred. But Lily wanted to be fancy. She added ketchup, then butter, then a little bit of cheese. I shouted, "Are we cooking noodles or creating a science experiment?" She said, "Just trust the chef." In 10 minutes, the noodles were ready. We took 2 plates, added coriander leaves on top, like MasterChef, and served it like professionals. We went to the living room and watched a movie on TV while eating our chef special Maggi. To be honest, it was delicious. Messy, weird, but very tasty. The message that made my evening. At around 6:45 p.m., while we were still watching the movie, my phone buzzed. It was a message on Instagram. from someone I didn't expect. It was Sarah, a girl from my class. She's smart, kind, and honestly, I kind of like her. The message said, "Hey Ryan, Ethan told me you guys played football today. He said you scored the winning goal. Nice." I stared at the message for 5 seconds. Then 10 seconds. Lily looked at me and asked, "Why are you smiling like a cartoon character?" I quickly locked my phone and said, "No reason." But inside, I was flying. I replied to her message after 2 minutes. "Ha ha ha, yeah, it was a fun game. You should join next time. We need more players." She replied back with a thumbs up. That was it. But it made me feel special. Ending the evening with peace. After all that, I took a bath. I used the new soap we bought. It smelled like lemon. I wore fresh clothes, sat on the sofa, and just relaxed. The house was calm. Mom was reading a book. Dad was watching the news. Lily was drawing in her sketchbook. Bruno was sleeping again. I looked at the clock. It was 8 p.m. I thought to myself, this was a perfect Saturday. Not because of big events, but because of the small ones. Football with friends, food with family, laughter with Lily, and one simple message that made my heart beat a little faster. After such a warm and joyful Saturday, I went to sleep that night with a calm mind. I didn't check my phone. I didn't think about homework. I just lay down, remembered Sarah's message, smiled, and slowly fell asleep. It was one of the most peaceful sleeps of my life. But what happened on Sunday was different. It wasn't wild or exciting. It was slow, deep, and special in a very quiet way. Let me take you with me into that day, moment by moment. I woke up at 7:15 a.m. Normally on Sundays, I sleep late. But that day, I woke up early. On my own. No alarm. No noise. Just silence and soft light entering through my window. I sat up on the bed and looked around. My room was quiet. Bruno was still sleeping. The fan was turning slowly. The world outside was still half asleep. I rubbed my eyes and whispered, "Why am I awake so early?" Then I noticed something inside me. Not a pain, not a fear, just a feeling. A strange mix of peace and curiosity. It felt like my heart was telling me, today, just live. Don't rush, don't scroll, just feel everything. So I listened. I went to the kitchen. To my surprise, my dad was already there making tea. He looked at me and said, "Wow, the sun is up and Ryan is awake. Is this a miracle?" I smiled. Even miracles need Sundays, right? We both laughed. He made 2 cups of tea. I usually drink coffee, but I took the tea and followed him to the balcony. We sat on 2 plastic chairs. The balcony was cool. Birds were flying. The trees were full of green. Some neighbors were watering their plants. I sipped the tea. It was light, sweet, and warm. Then my dad said something that surprised me. "You're growing up fast, Ryan. I see it." I didn't know what to say. I just looked at my cup. He continued, "You've become more thoughtful, more quiet. That's not a bad thing. It means your mind is getting deeper." I asked him, "Did you feel that when you were 16? He nodded slowly. "Yes. 16 is when I started understanding who I was and what really mattered." That conversation stayed with me. I didn't speak much after that. But inside, something felt warm. Like a seed was growing in my heart. At around 9 a.m., Mom turned on loud music. That's always her secret sign. Cleaning time. She started sweeping. Lily began dusting the shelves. My job was to fold clothes and organize the living room. I didn't complain. I actually felt like helping. I played some upbeat songs on the speaker. Old songs, funny songs, even a few sad songs. Bruno got scared of the vacuum cleaner and hid behind the sofa. We laughed. We danced while working. Lily put a towel on her head like a hat and said, "Look, I'm Queen of Cleanland," Mom replied. "Then your kingdom better be spotless." We cleaned for 2 hours. It felt good. Sometimes cleaning your home also cleans your mind. At 1 p.m., we all sat for lunch. Mom made chicken curry, rice, salad, and raita. She only makes this curry on special days. The smell filled the whole house. I sat on the floor near the table, eating with my fingers, like in childhood. The curry was spicy and the rice was soft. The raita cooled the heat in my mouth. While eating, we talked about old family trips, childhood fights, and silly moments. Dad told us a story about how he once lost his shoe in a river during a picnic. Lily laughed so hard she dropped rice on her lap. We all laughed like crazy. There were no phones, no distractions, just us. That lunch was not just food. It was a memory being cooked and served on a plate. After lunch, I didn't sleep. I took a book from the shelf. It was a small book of short stories. I sat near the window in my room. The sunlight was soft now. The wind moved the curtain slowly. I read one story about a boy who wanted to fly. Not in a plane, but by himself. He tried again and again. He fell. He failed. People laughed, but he kept trying. In the end, he didn't fly. But he built a glider with his own hands, and he became a teacher who taught kids to dream. The story touched me deeply. I closed the book and looked outside. People think nothing happens on a Sunday. But sometimes, the most important things happen. Inside you. At around 5 p.m., I took Bruno for a walk. The streets were calm. No honking, no noise. Only the sound of leaves moving and dogs barking far away. Bruno ran in front of me, chasing butterflies. I looked at the houses. Some had lights on. Some were empty. I wondered how many stories were living behind those doors. One man was watering his plants. A grandmother was sitting on a chair, looking at the sky. A small boy was learning to ride a bicycle, and his father was cheering him. I felt something rise in my heart. Not joy, not sadness, just a quiet truth. Life is not about big moments. It's about noticing small ones and feeling them fully. After dinner, I went to the roof alone. I lay down on a mat and looked up. The stars were clear. The sky was black and beautiful. I closed my eyes and thought about everything. The football game, the noodles, Sarah's message, the tea with Dad, the story about the boy who wanted to fly, the feeling in my chest when I watched people just living. I whispered to myself, this weekend didn't give me anything I can show, but it gave me something I can feel. And that's enough. I went back to my room, turned off the light, and slept with a full heart. This was not just my weekend. This was a story of how simple days can change us without us even noticing. I laughed with my sister. I played like a child. I helped my mom. I spoke with my dad like a friend. I thought deeply about life, and I felt grateful for every small thing. So, if your weekend ever feels boring, remember, it's not about where you go. It's about how much of yourself you give to each moment. This was my weekend story, full of small things, quiet joy, and real feelings. Thank you for listening. Would you like to hear another story next time? I can write about a school day, a vacation, a birthday, or any other day in Ryan's life. Just tell me.